I was arrested mid-bite into a pulled pork sandwich, barbecue sauce still on my chin, hands cuffed behind my back, face pressed against the asphalt in front of my favorite lunch spot. They read me my rights like I was some seasoned criminal. Mr. Carter, you are under arrest for wire fraud, forgery, and identity theft. My first thought, you've got the wrong guy. My second, this can't be real, but it was. It was realer than the floor under my boots, and colder than the metal bench they threw me onto. My name is Mason Carter, 37 years old, born and raised in rural Georgia. I'm a contractor. Been laying bricks and swinging hammers since I was 18. I've never been fancy, never needed more than my pickup, my house, and a good pair of work gloves. I never thought the person who'd destroy all of that would be my own brother. Tyler was always slicker than me. He wore suits while I wore tool belts. He smiled through lies like they were bedtime stories. After our mother passed, I let him handle most of the paperwork. Power of attorney, I told myself, was just a formality. I trusted him. Hell, I loved him. Turns out while I was climbing ladders and fixing roofs, he was forging signatures, opening credit lines, and rerouting client payments, all in my name, and I was too busy working to notice. Loyal to question. The day I got arrested, I kept thinking, there's no way a brother does this. Not over money, not to family. But the paperwork said otherwise, bank statements, IP addresses, even fake emails written in my tone, my style. Tyler knew me too well. You're facing 12 years, the public defender told me, flipping through. A file like it was yesterday's newspaper. Unless you have proof it wasn't you, there's not much I can do. 12 years. For crimes I didn't even know had happened. I didn't scream, didn't cry. I just sat on that concrete bench, breathing in bleach and betrayal, and whispered to myself, if your own blood can ruin you, who's left to trust? It wasn't rage that filled me. It was something colder, heavier, resolve. Because if Tyler thought I'd disappear quietly, if he thought prison bars could bury the truth forever, he had no idea what kind of man he'd betrayed. You took my name. Tyler, you took my life, but I swear I'm taking everything back at one piece at a time. If you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for listening to the beginning of a story I never thought I'd be brave enough to tell. I believe stories like this matter, because too many people have been stabbed in the back by the ones they trusted most. Let me know in the comments, where are you watching from? Your city just might inspire the next story we share. Whether it's family, betrayal, justice, or rebirth, someone out there has lived it, and maybe it happened in your hometown. Like, share, and subscribe if this story speaks to you, and stay tuned. Part 2 will show you what silence, patience, and a steady hand can really do. I didn't scream when they locked the cell, didn't bang on the bars, didn't beg anyone to believe me. I just sat down on the edge of a thin mattress, stared at the grey concrete wall across from me, and let the silence spread. They say prison is loud, but it's the quiet that gets you. The hours where no one speaks, where the hum of fluorescent lights becomes your only company, where your thoughts echo louder than any siren. And in that silence, I saw it all. The pieces Tyler had been moving long before the cuffs hit my wrists. He knew exactly how far to push, exactly how to make it look like I was the one cutting corners. He didn't just steal my identity, he made sure I couldn't defend. It untold clients who once shook my hand now refused my calls. My bank account had been emptied in increments so small I hadn't noticed until it was gone. The house? Signed over during a temporary power of attorney. He told the court I was mentally unstable, burnt out from years of physical labor and grief. And maybe in that cell I started to believe it, because grief doesn't always come after death. Sometimes it comes when the person you trusted most kills the life you built. I remember the first night clearly. Dinner was a tray of something grey they called meatloaf. I didn't touch it. Instead, I watched the rain smear down the tiny wire screen window and thought about the last real conversation I'd had with Tyler. It was at Mum's funeral. We stood beside her grave, shovels in hand. He patted me on the back and said, "I got you, brother. Don't worry about a thing." That was the last honest lie I ever heard. After 3 days in that cell, I stopped asking questions. I started paying attention instead, to the guards, to the systems, to the timing of the lights, the shifts, the way paperwork moved. Because when they take everything from you, what's left is observation, and silence is where strategy is born. I didn't need to yell, didn't need to convince anyone I was innocent. I just needed time. Time and truth. They put me in a job in the laundry room, bland work, folding sheets, starching collars, but it gave me access to people, to patterns, to a rhythm that I could build on, a routine that taught me how the system worked and how to move beneath it. And while I folded those sheets, I folded my rage with them, tight, square, neat, because I knew something they didn't. The longer I wait, the sharper I get. And when the time comes, I won't miss. They thought they broke me. They thought silence meant surrender, but silence was the blueprint, and I was building something they couldn't see coming. There's something cruel about memories. They don't care where you are when they come back, a cold metal bench, a fluorescent hallway, or a prison laundry room. They arrive anyway, uninvited, unapologetic, and worse, they come dressed like home. Was folding bedsheets when it hit me. That sharp scent of detergent pulling something from the back of my mind. Tyler and I were maybe 8 or 9. Mom was hanging laundry in the backyard, and we were racing between the sheets, laughing like idiots. She warned us not to knock anything down, of course we did. Tore half the line off the pole and dragged her clean linens through the mud. She was furious. But Tyler, with that same crooked smile he still wore years later, stepped in front of me and said, "It was me, Mama. Mason tried to stop me." He lied, effortlessly, to protect me. Or maybe, even back then, he just liked the power of deciding what was true. I used to think we were close, but maybe we were just convenient. He was the talker. I was the doer. He had ideas. I had the truck. And the tools. We made a decent team until he realized he didn't want a teammate anymore. He wanted a shortcut, and I was it. I remember one Christmas. I was 17. He was 15. We were broke that year. Mom had picked up shifts at the diner. Tyler couldn't afford to buy her anything, so he stole a necklace from the gas station and gave it to her wrapped in newspaper. I found the receipt in his coat pocket weeks later. It wasn't a receipt, it was a report from the store's owner. They never pressed charges, but Mom wore that necklace until the day she died. "Tyler always gives the most thoughtful gifts," she'd say. Even back then, he was stealing and smiling while he did it. The memory stung more now. Back then, I thought I was being loyal, covering for him, keeping peace. Now I know better. He was never my shadow. He was always the storm behind it. The worst part isn't what he did, it's the knowledge that everything we shared, every childhood sleepover, every scraped knee, every holiday toast, was real to me. But maybe never real to him. I lived in those memories. He just walked through them on his way to something else. Back in that prison laundry room, I folded the last sheet and stared out the barred window. The sun was starting to set, same as it did the night Tyler signed over my house. We were brothers, but only one of us ever meant it. You can mourn the dead, you can grieve the lost. But how do you let go of someone who's still breathing but already gone? That's the weight I carried with every step. Not revenge, not anger. Grief. For a bond that never really existed. Hindsight is a cruel thing. It doesn't just show you what you missed. It shows you how clearly it was always there. The first sign? Tyler stopped calling me bro. He started calling me partner. I thought it was harmless, professional even. We'd just begun talking about expanding the business, a second truck, maybe a part-time bookkeeper. But looking back, that shift wasn't about respect. It was about distance. When someone stops calling you family, pay attention. They're already thinking like a stranger. He also stopped getting dirty, literally. Tyler used to show up on site in jeans and steel-toe boots. Lately, he wore button-ups, loafers, and cologne. He'd stand by the truck on speakerphone while I hauled drywall up 3 flights of stairs. He said he was handling the money side of things. Said I didn't need to worry about invoices or permits, and I didn't. That was the problem. Clients started acting weird. One woman, Mrs. Hutchins, sweet lady, handed me an envelope at the end of the job. "You already got half up front," she said. "Here's the rest, like we agreed." I hadn't seen a dime from her yet. When I asked Tyler, he shrugged. "She's old, probably confused." Don't stress it. I should have stressed it. Then came the checks. They weren't bouncing, they were rerouted. I noticed our business account wasn't growing, even though jobs were stacked week to week. Tyler said it was a bank error. Then he blamed a new accountant. Then he told me to stop micromanaging. So I did, because I was tired, because I trusted him, because I didn't want to believe my own brother was stacking bricks for a future that didn't include me. The biggest sign? A conversation that still rings in my ears. It was late. We were drinking beers on the tailgate. I was rambling about maybe taking a break, heading to Florida for a few days, first vacation in years. Tyler looked at me for a long time and said, "You ever think about how easy it'd be to just hand everything over and disappear?" I laughed, thought he was joking. He wasn't. The truth doesn't knock, it creeps, soft, slow, until it becomes your whole world. I saw it all now. The slicker clothes, the unanswered texts, the sudden urgency to handle documents without me. He didn't break my trust overnight. He chipped away at it, quiet, polite, surgical, and I let him because betrayal rarely wears a mask. Most of the time, it walks like family, talks like a friend, and hugs you, just tight enough to keep you from moving. I folded another sheet in that prison laundry room, not just cotton. Memories. I folded every moment I ignored, every silence I mistook for peace, every lie I thought was love. And I whispered to myself, I won't miss the next sign, because I'm not watching as a brother anymore, I'm watching as a man preparing for war. I didn't leave prison a free man. I left it with a checklist. The charges had been dropped, finally. One of Tyler's forged contracts came under audit during a real estate deal. His fake signature didn't match the one he used to copy mine. That was enough to cast doubt, not enough to convict him, but just enough to clear me. I walked out with nothing, no money, no house, no business. But what I had was time, and I wasn't going to waste it. I spent the first 2 weeks sleeping on a friend's couch, eating canned beans and writing in a notebook, not journaling, planning, names, dates, every bank account, every client we'd ever worked with, every lie I hadn't caught before. I wasn't chasing revenge, I was building a response. If you're going to come back, I wrote in capital letters, come back ruthless, come back clean. First thing I did was call someone I hadn't spoken to in years, a paralegal named Denise, who used to work for one of our old roofing clients. She picked up and said, "I always knew your brother was slime. What do you need?" She didn't ask why I called, didn't ask what happened, just asked what she could do. Within a week, I had a list of every property Tyler owned, and more importantly, who really owned them. See, Tyler wasn't stupid, but he got cocky. He hid some of his assets under shell companies. Others were tied up in his girlfriend's name, but they weren't airtight. I opened a new LLC, got a burner phone, rented a P.O. box 2 towns over, started contacting Tyler's former clients, one by one, quietly, professionally. No bitterness, no drama, just a new face offering to finish the jobs Tyler never completed, at a discount. Some said no. Most said yes. Turns out being honest still means something in this world, especially after they saw the news about my release. At night I worked under a different name, fixed broken decks, repaired roofs Tyler had botched, saved every dollar. No restaurants, no new clothes, just work boots, dust, and determination. And every time I laid a board straight or tightened a bolt, I thought, you tried to bury me, Tyler, you just didn't know I was a seed. When I had enough saved, I bought my first property back, not the house he took from me, not yet. A small foreclosed duplex nearby, cash deal, no trail. Then I bought another, and another, always through the LLC, always below the radar. He never saw it coming, because while Tyler was flaunting fake success on social media, posting from leased cars and rented condos, I was rebuilding in the shadows, one brick at a time. I thought Tyler acted alone. I was wrong. He might have been the knife, but he didn't swing it by himself. It started with a letter, a foreclosure notice addressed to my old shop. I never signed for it. I was in prison when it went through, but somehow, it bore my name. Perfectly copied. Same slant, same pressure, even the looping R at the end of Carter, except I don't loop my R, never have. I called Denise again. Had her pull everything that had gone through under my name in the past 18 months. It wasn't just the shop. It was insurance policies, vehicle registrations, 2 small business loans I never applied for. One of them even required a notary. That's what cracked it open, because I knew the notary and she knew me. Her name was Karen. She used to work at the same bank as our mom years ago. I paid her a visit. She looked nervous before. I even sat down. "Mason," she said, "I didn't think they'd ever let you out." That told me everything. She tried to defend it. Said Tyler told her I'd authorized the signatures, that I was getting help for mental health issues, that it was all a family arrangement. "You knew I was locked up, Karen," I said, quietly. "And you stamped those papers anyway." She didn't deny it. She just looked down at her hands and whispered, "I didn't think he'd take it that far." That night I couldn't sleep. I sat on the porch of the small duplex I'd just bought, watching the streetlights blink through the rain. And it hit me. Tyler didn't just betray me. He built a network. People who didn't ask questions. People who looked the other way. People who signed things they knew weren't right because it was easier than saying no. I checked the loan files again. Sure enough, one of them listed an advisory co-signer. Not Tyler. Not me, Uncle Ray. The same man who hugged me outside the courthouse when I got out. The same man who once told me, "Blood forgives all things, Mason." Apparently, blood also funds credit scams. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't eat. The next morning, I sat at that kitchen table with a pencil in hand and drew one thing, a family tree turned inside out. Each name wasn't just a relative, it was a node. I started connecting lines. Tyler's accountant, Karen the notary, Uncle Ray's business partner, even one of our old high school buddies. He'd bought a property from Tyler months ago, for half its value. It wasn't just theft, it was a system, a quiet, smiling conspiracy, built on trust, sealed with handshakes, hidden behind the word family. They didn't just take my house, they tried to erase me from the map. But what they forgot was that I knew every inch of the map, because I helped draw it and now I was holding the pen. Revenge is loud, justice is quiet. It doesn't come with fists or fire, it comes with signatures, paper trails, smiles so sharp they draw blood. I didn't tell anyone I was digging, didn't confront Tyler, didn't post a single word online. Instead, I made calls, sent emails, scheduled meetings using a fake name and a different voice. I built a second LLC. This one specialized in distressed asset acquisition. Sounds fancy, right? It just meant I was buying back everything they'd stolen, through proxies, holding companies, and people they'd never suspect. Meanwhile, I started feeding the trap. Tyler thought I was broke, homeless, finished. That was the story I gave him. "You were right, man," I said over the phone one night, voice hoarse like I'd been sleeping in my truck. "I should have just signed it all over from the beginning." He played it cool, pretended to hesitate, then offered to help me farm again. "You still got your hands," he said. "Maybe I can throw some work your way." I thanked him, sounded grateful, hung up. Then I circled his name on my diagram twice. The next phase was more fun. I hired a videographer, not a flashy guy, just someone good at hiding cameras. I told him I needed a documentary-style shoot about contractor fraud. We staged interviews with 3 people Tyler had scammed. Each of them told their story, showed invoices, emails, texts. One of them even had a voicemail. Tyler promising to push the paperwork through using family connections. It was gold. Then I baited the final hook. I leaked word to a mutual friend that I was looking to sell off one of the properties I'd reclaimed, said I was desperate. Cheap. Tyler bit hard, sent a guy to pose as a buyer. Lowballed me. Got arrogant. What he didn't know was the deed he signed was fake, and the whole meeting was recorded. Every word, every lie, every smirk. "You're not just a thief," I said to the hidden camera as he left the room. "You're a walking confession." At that point the net was tight. I had recordings, paperwork, a full web of names and dates, but I didn't go to the cops, not yet. No, I went to the bank, to the state board, to the media contacts I'd met through Denise. One domino at a time. No drama. No. Warnings, just cold procedural collapse. "You think silence means weakness," I wrote in my notebook that night. But it just means I wanted you loud when you fell. And fall he would, because Tyler wasn't watching his back. He thought I didn't have one left. The day before everything hit, I stood on the porch of the house he once stole from me, not as a victim, not as a ghost, as the new legal owner, because Tyler didn't know that the holding company behind the LLC was me. It didn't fall all at once, not with sirens, not with handcuffs, just quiet papers sliding across quiet desks. But once the first piece cracked, the whole thing caved in. The email to the state contractor board went out on a Tuesday, attached were time-stamped video files, notarized affidavits, and one very detailed ledger. By Thursday, Tyler's license was flagged. By Friday, it was under formal investigation. Meanwhile, Denise made sure local news got a neat little package of exclusive materials. They called it The Silent Scam: How a Contractor Built an Empire on Stolen Trust. By the following Monday, Tyler's face was on 3 news sites, blurry photos, pulled LinkedIn bios. A copy of his mugshot from a DUI 10 years back, resurfaced. For context, of course, he still didn't know it was me, even when the headlines read, "Carter Family Scandal, Former Convict Falsely Imprisoned While Brother Profited." He thought it was someone else, an ex-employee, an angry client. Watch the live stream of him walking out of the courthouse, sweating in a wrinkled suit, reporters shouting questions he couldn't answer. He didn't speak, didn't look up, and I didn't blink. The state froze his accounts, several properties, entered foreclosure. One of his co-signers, Uncle Ray, was subpoenaed for fraud. Karen, the notary, lost her license. The accountant vanished. One by one, the names on my family tree of betrayal started falling like fruit in a storm. And through it all, I didn't raise my voice, didn't post a thing, didn't celebrate. I just worked, kept flipping houses, kept fixing what was broken, and I kept my eyes open. Because this wasn't revenge, it was removal. "You didn't just steal from me," I wrote, in my journal. "You stole from every honest day I ever worked. Now I'm just taking it all back, piece by piece." The final moment came quietly. Tyler called me, blocked number, I answered, didn't speak. He paused, voice cracked. "I don't know how you did it," he said, "but you win, Mason, okay? You win." I could have said a lot. I could have screamed, but I didn't. "I didn't win," I said slowly. "I just survived you." And I hung up. That night I walked through the empty house, the one he'd taken from me, now mine again. I touched the walls I'd built with my own hands, listened to the creak of the floors, the soft hum of wind through the old vents. Everything was quiet. No one was cheering. No applause. No crowd. Just peace. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it arrives like a whisper, steady, cold, and permanent. And that was enough for me. I didn't throw a party. No champagne, no final confrontation, just a door closing and me walking away. After the storm settled, I stood on the back porch of my reclaimed home, the one Tyler had forged away, the one I'd quietly taken back, and just listened, not to noise, to silence, the kind of silence that doesn't ache, the kind that feels earned. A week later, Tyler showed up. No warning, no lawyer, just him, same slicked back hair, but the confidence was gone. He looked smaller, like the weight of everything had finally caught up to him. He didn't step past the gate, didn't dare. I just wanted to say. I raised a hand, didn't let him finish. I didn't want an apology, not anymore. What I wanted was space, distance, clean lines. Walked up to the gate and looked him in the eye. His were bloodshot. His hands shook. He opened his mouth again, and I stopped him with one sentence. "We're done, Tyler. You don't call. You don't write. You don't exist in my life anymore." His jaw tightened. He looked down. "You're really going to let all of this end like that?" I nodded. "It already ended. You just didn't notice when." He left after that. Didn't yell, didn't threaten, just turned and walked back to his car, like a man who finally realized there was no door left to knock on. That night, I went through my phone, deleted every contact I hadn't already blocked. Family, friends, names. That used to mean Sunday dinners, road trips, backyard birthdays. Now they just meant silence. and for once that silence wasn't empty. It was freedom. I boxed up the last photo I had of us as kids, me and Tyler, both grinning, covered in mud. Didn't burn it, didn't shred it, just sealed it, taped it shut, and stored it in the attic. That chapter was closed, not erased, just no longer in use. People say forgiveness is for you, not for them. But sometimes not forgiving is how you save what's left of yourself, and I'd lost enough. Time, trust, years I'll never get back. I wasn't going to lose another second pretending the blood we shared meant I owed him anything. When I laid down that night, there was no bitterness in my chest, no anger chewing at my ribs, just quiet, and a simple thought that echoed. As I drifted off, letting go isn't weak, it's how you keep from drowning with the ones who already sank. The house is quiet now. No secrets, no shadows, just sunlight on wood floors, coffee brewing at 6 a.m., and a dog named Ranger who follows me from room to room like I'm the only thing he trusts. I get it. Some of us only learn loyalty after we've been betrayed. I never rebuilt what I lost. I built something better, simpler, quieter, mine, a one-man shop, 2 rental properties, enough income to live, sleep, and smile without owing anyone anything. I fix fences, lay floors, sometimes just drink coffee on the porch, and let the breeze blow through the trees I planted myself. No one asks for my story anymore, and I don't offer it, because this life I live now isn't about who hurt me. It's about what I chose to do after they did. Some mornings I still wake up with my fists clenched. Then I open the window and remind myself, they can't take what they never built, and they'll never destroy what I built alone. The world didn't give me peace, it gave me pain. Peace? I earned that, nail by nail, hour by hour, word by word, left unsaid. I don't need anyone to know my name. I just need to hear the quiet and know it's finally mine. That's enough. If you're still here, thank you, truly, for walking with me through all 10 parts of this journey. This wasn't just a story about betrayal. It was a story about resilience, about the silence that follows pain, and the kind of man you can choose to become inside. I'd love to hear from you. What part of this story stayed with you the most? And if you're comfortable, as where are you watching from, maybe the next story we tell will take place in your hometown.